Hello, my name is Joshua Arcuri, and make sure to follow me on TikTok because I do lots of awesome stuff. And I was interviewed by Keith Andrews.
Ladies and gentlemen, today on the KeithAndrewNetWork, it's episode 807. That's right, 807. We are here with professional upcoming actor Joshua Arcuri. That's right, Joshua Arcuri, upcoming professional actor. He has a bright future in the entertainment world. Make sure to follow him on Instagram. His Instagram will be on the bottom of the screen. Also, make sure to follow H.D. Gibson, home of the X Zone, and Life of a Fighter. With that being said, I'm going to start off with my catchphrase. And as I always say, catch you later. So before we start off the show, I'm going to start off with my catchphrase. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities that never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you want to be. Is to prove to them you can still amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. That being said, PG-13. Anything you say is PG, PG-13, freedom, speech of self-expression. Let me do that again. Now I can always edit it. So the whole point of my show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove to them is amount to something. So that being said, half hour of your time, PG-13. Say anything you want. Ask me anything. I have no cards up my sleeve. So the first question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about yourself and how you became a professional actor.
Well, a little bit about myself is that I love to hang out with my friends, and I'm 12 years old. What else? I love playing video games. I especially love acting practice because it's just super fun. I also love improv. And I also love going to Comic-Con. Every year, it's my favorite thing to do. I especially love dressing up, which is basically mostly about me.
It's pretty funny. You mentioned dressing up. I kind of have two personalities. When I'm with my family, it's kind of what you see right now. But when I'm on my own, I have a separate or different personality, like an listener alert. But it's a separate personality. You have your family side, and then you have your superstar side. So for me, when I do my introductions, I put my glasses on, and I like to dress up, and I feel like a different person. When I wear my normal glasses, it's like, okay, now it's time to be professional. So I have my professional side, and I have my superhero side. Do you feel the same way?
Yes. Especially when I go to acting practices and there's a special occasion, I always wear a suit. I have my own Christmas suit, and I also have a Halloween suit. On Halloween, I showed up to my Zoom class with the Halloween suit on.
And your dog agrees.
Yes.
I do have one request. Is there a way you can tilt the screen down so it doesn't cut you off?
Like this?
Yep, perfect. It was cutting you off the chin down. No, perfect. It's always good, to dress up. I am a huge wrestling fan, so I don't like being a carbon copy. It's good. It's always, if you dress up, that means you have a strong imagination. And if you have a strong imagination, that can help you with your acting. That can help you with your films. That can help you with so much. That's why you have to be very passionate and don't surround yourself with negative people. Because if you surround yourself with negative people, you start to suffocate, and then you start to doubt yourself. I know I'm around negative people most of the time, but that's why it's always better not to make waves, not to piss people off, and stay positive. The more you stay positive, the more you feel happy about yourself. And the more you feel happy about yourself, the more that you can accomplish with a positive attitude. So the next question I want to ask you is, with everything that you accomplish, do you want to work for Nickelodeon? Do you want to work for Cartoon Network? Have you ever been on TV?
I've been on YouTube, and I've recently done a commercial for a shampoo company, and it was pretty cool. And I've also done a student film. I was an extra in a student film. And I've also done a Evian water commercial, which was like a spec commercial, and it was super awesome.
Well, let me ask you this. Who influenced you to become a professional actor, and how many years have you been acting?
Well, I've been working for about 1 year, actually 2 years now. And who influenced me is my theater teacher. Because we were doing auditions for a play at my old school, and it was actually pretty cool. So we would audition for who we wanted to be, and I got the main part, and it was super awesome. I got to do all this cool stuff, and I even got to dress up, and that was the best part. I just loved it so much.
No, absolutely. As we mentioned in the beginning, when you dress up, that creative side of yourself comes out, and you can show different personalities. That's the biggest thing about being in the entertainment world and being a professional wrestler. You look at people like Hulk Hogan, you look at people like The Undertaker and Sting, and the question is, how do you stay relevant? And that's easy, at any age, your age up to mine to, 60 and up. You constantly have to reinvent yourself. The entertainment world is the world that's constantly evolving. But the biggest thing is, if you can constantly reinvent yourself and say a wrestler, then do it again as an announcer. If you can do so many things, then you will always, find a way to stay relevant. That's the biggest thing in the entertainment world, is people want to be a one-trick pony, but you don't want to be a one-trick pony, because when people say, oh, I know that person, he says, I use you for an example. Oh, I know this person, he's just a YouTuber. What else does he do? Or for me, people would say, oh, he's a talk show host who has a learning disability. That's wonderful. What else can he do? So the more you're out there, acting, films, TV, and singing, you constantly need to evolve, gain the skills, and reinvent yourself. I mean, you reinvent yourself, say, every, give or take, 10 years. So you're good for the first, but then you want to say, I have this perfect persona. Now I want to show the world this side of me. If that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. Staying relevant constantly is what I want to do. And I want to train to stay relevant. And I always love to practice because it makes perfect.
No, I agree. Now, you mentioned, I saw on your LinkedIn about, actually, I think it was your LinkedIn or Facebook, but you said you are an activist for people with learning disabilities. So the first question I want to ask you is, besides me, obviously, have you worked with people with disabilities, and how did you become an activist for people with disabilities?
No, not really. I haven't worked with people with disabilities, but oh yes, I have actually with you. But I wanted to become an activist because whenever I would be talking to a group of people and I would be having fun, and I would say it would come up in the conversation, oh yeah, I have dyslexia and ADHD, and they'd be like, oh okay, and then they just avoid me like the plague. They would never want to talk to me again. And I'm a normal kid. I just learn differently. it doesn't like having dyslexia means I work outside the box. That's why I want to become a activist for learning disabilities.
No, absolutely. Just taking a swing in the dark, just throwing out ideas. One thing I was when I was your age was the fact I had someone in my corner to guide me, coach me. When I was your age, I was the type of person who was more shy. I stand back. I sit in the back of the room with my head down. I didn't want to be part of anything because, as you mentioned, and it's funny that we have that in common, I have ADD, ADHD. I'm socially awkward, and my disability is part of that. Now, if I just accepted the fact, when I turned 26, I said, you know what? I'm going to show people's disabilities, look at what I'm able to accomplish. If I had that attitude when I was your age, things would have possibly, maybe would have been different. I would have walked up to a group of people and say, look, if I do something stupid, I apologize, but I have a disability. It's always good to be upfront. But when I was in middle school and high school, I always had the fear of being rejected. So I never told people the reason why I was always standoffish and socially awkward. But you just need to give yourself self-confidence and saying, you know what, this is who I am. You got to accept it. And if you're upfront with people, it's always better to be upfront than kind of dance around it, because dancing around things never works out, and it kind of just wastes a lot of time.
Yeah. Oh wait, you were saying something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, basically, if I can give confidence to one kid who will actually get the confidence to do something big someday, then I think I'm doing very good. I hope everyone can accomplish something big. I want to teach acceptance, because not most people don't know what what dyslexia means. That could mean that they're sick. They don't know what it means. So they don't educate themselves about what it is. It just means that you think outside of the box, or that anything like that.
No, I agree with you 100%. The next question I want to ask you, but going back to the schools, I took a class called skills class, and most of the time it was a waste for me anyway. They had me reading the damn newspaper, like that's gonna accomplish something, reading the paper or learning times. But why not? It's supposed to be a skills class where you're supposed to learn skills like money, how you pay your taxes, how to survive. When you're in high school, you're like, oh, I have 4 years, I can mess around or whatever. But once you're on your own, and reality kicks you in the face, and everyone has gone through it, you kind of I wish someone taught me how to do my taxes. I wish someone taught me how to benefit and interact with society, with the real world, instead of 4 years of make-believe and drama. And you've seen all those high school shows, they care about drama, and they never learn anything. So once you're out of the system, you're kind of like, I don't know how to do any of this. So it's kind of like, shouldn't they be teaching you all this so you're prepared for the next step? I know, you're probably in middle school now, but it should be at any age where they should teach you the fundamentals of what is expected of you in reality.
My parents teach me accounting because they are accountants. They were constantly teaching me to be good at math. And I love math, but it's just very hard for me. And also is reading. So this is why lots of the time I just watch YouTube videos, because they're simpler. And people might say, man, YouTube just corrupts kids, but it really doesn't. YouTube actually, like, they have books on YouTube or Audible. Those are two really good options because they have lots of books on them. And I read this really good book called House Arrest. Like, it was very good. It was about a boy who was trying to save his little brother who was sick, like trying to get, he stole a wallet to buy medicine. It was by K.A. Holt.
Now, it's funny you mentioned house arrest. It kind of was the quarantine. Everyone seems to be like that. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you about social media and a couple more questions. And I'll pass it over to you when we come back. Welcome back to the Keith Andrew Network. It's Season 9, Episode 807. That's right, we're finally in the 800s on the road to 900. This June, and actually it's funny you're here because I want to plug this for you. Add this to your calendar. June 10th at 5 o'clock. That's right, June 10th, 5 o'clock. It's my 8-year anniversary special episode. It's going to be all 8 years of everyone who I ever interviewed. They're going to be on. They're going to tell funny stories. But make sure, June 10th, everyone checks it out. Also, the following is brought to you by HB Gibson, home of the X Zone. If you're into entertainment and video games, definitely check out HB Gibson. Also, if you're into fitness, eating healthy, drinking healthy, make sure to check out Life of a Fighter. And make sure if you're into professional wrestling, comedians, fan-made challenges of Dumbo, Jumbo Bug, and especially my favorite, the Human Pyramid Challenge. If you're into different challenges, make sure to like and subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network. We have hundreds of great content. The Keith Andrew Network library, it's overflowing with great content. New platforms coming soon to the network. But with that being said, going back to, as you're saying about disabilities, for me, I can't read a script. Now, for me, if someone said, here's a script, they have to break it down and explain it to me. Reading isn't one of my strong suits. That's why if I have to read something, I would ask someone, can you read it to me? So it explains and sinks in a lot better. As you said, people learn at different paces. But the question I want to ask you is, because you're now in the entertainment world, when you're in school, do you feel different? Do you feel different as in you're not cocky that, you're on TV and you're getting all these opportunities? Do you feel like you're famous, and has that changed your personality?
No, not at all. I do not feel famous. I feel the same as every other kid. And no, it has not changed me at all. I have been the same happy me.
So let's go and continue that one. So if you walked into a class, same way as you saw a group of people, do you feel that because you've been on these amazing adventures, has it given you that confidence to randomly walk up to someone? And can you compare that to before, where you were more standoffish? Do you see a difference in your personality?
Oh, definitely I do. I still sometimes hesitate, but of course, in the end, I always will go up to and talk to someone who's shy, because they probably are very interesting. And I've always been very friendly to anyone I meet.
Well, absolutely. Now we're going to go to the hard-hitting questions, and you can feel free to ask me anything you want. So the first one I want to ask you is, what is holding you back from being the person that you want to be?
It's probably that fear. I'm just scared of what will happen. Whenever some big opportunity, it will take me 10 minutes. And I've actually been watching some videos on that. And sometimes it's mostly anxiety. I get very anxious a lot. Like, it's very easy to get me anxious. Like, if you're like, oh, we're going to a cool birthday, you better be cool. And I'm like, oh, I just get very anxious. Yeah.
No, I understand. I deal from anxiety, so I learned the same boat. What about this one? Has your failure ever hindered you?
No, not at all. I do not feel embarrassed about the past because that was in the past. Like, I'm not gonna let it just affect me now. Like, maybe sometimes I might remember something embarrassing and it might keep me up a tiny bit at night, but I'm still like, oh, I mean, it was in the past. What I would have done now? Nothing. But now I'm starting to learn and grow.
Absolutely. Here's a funny one for you. Do you believe in conspiracy theories?
Some of them.
No, go ahead.
That ghost, I think, maybe be real. Because earlier today, I was going to get a haircut and I saw something just go down, and I don't know about that, but that was pretty creepy. And I didn't even touch anything. It just went, and that's about it. That's all I really believe in.
Well, you mentioned a good subject, but I do want to answer this. Do you believe that human beings are made of energy?
50-50. Yeah.
Well, for me, I believe that, everyone's made of energy. And as you may know, energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed into a different form. So for me, I always believe that there is life after death. And that's the question I was going to ask you, that you're never really gone. It's just you move to a different plane of life. Like from John Edwards. Do you believe in that stuff? How do you feel about life after death?
I believe there is definitely life after death. Yes, like I always do wonder what happens, but I think heaven is the life after death. I think that's heaven. It's the life after death.
So you believe there's more to it than just doing it everyday basis.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question I want to ask you, so I want you to be, actually we should say that one for the end. How can people follow you on social media? Are you on Facebook, LinkedIn?
I'm in all of those. I'm also on Twitter. And I'm basically, TikTok is my favorite though, because like it's just so fun. Like, and you can also follow me at AwesomeJoshua@Arcuri. And the last name is a bit hard to spell, but I mean, I'm sure you will find it.
And don't worry, our Instagrams will be on the bottom of the screen as well. Mm-hmm. Now, passing the show over to you. It's the last 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. Was there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to promote?
Oh, I'm definitely going to promote. Probably you should probably follow me at AwesomeJoshua@Arcuri on TikTok, because I do lots of fun stuff with my mom and fan favorite, my dog Watson. He's a little puppy who is a ball of energy. He's very fun to play with also.
No, absolutely. Now, the other question I want to ask you, I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first honest opinion? What made you say yes? And after being a guest, would you recommend it to all your friends out there to be on the show?
I would definitely recommend. I was super excited when I was offered an interview. I love talking to people. I especially love talking to new people. Like, I just love talking to people that have the same interests as me. And I also wanted to talk about learning disabilities to raise more awareness about that. So that's why I wanted to come onto the show.
And so you're more than welcome to come back anytime. And don't forget, June 10th for our listeners, it's going to be our 8-year anniversary. Also, June 12th, we're working on having a special WWE. If you're into professional wrestling, a WWE edition, because I interviewed a bunch of wrestlers. So we did an ECW reunion, we did a TNA reunion, now we're going to do a WWE reunion. And so we have so much great content coming up for the Keith Andrew Network. For our listeners out there, like and subscribe to my channel and to my friend's channel. And as I always say, catch you later.